Before this year ends, God will finish what He started. Don't scroll. Pause right here. Because this message didn't find you by accident, and deep down your heart already knows that. Listen to this slowly. This is for you. For the one who has been quietly holding it together while everything inside feels like it's been stretching, waiting, hoping, and almost giving up. This moment, right now, is a divine interruption. Heaven is cutting through the noise of your day, the weight of your thoughts, and the exhaustion in your spirit to speak directly to you. You didn't just come across this. You were led here. There is a reason your eyes landed on these words and a reason your heart felt that subtle pull to stay. God saw the nights you cried without making a sound, the prayers you whispered when you were too tired to be strong, and the questions you asked when it felt like answers were taking too long. You've been wondering if 2026 is going to end the same way it began, with uncertainty, delays, and unfinished stories. You've been asking yourself, did I miss my moment? Did I wait too long? Did I trust too much? And hear this clearly, no, you didn't miss anything. What you're experiencing right now is not punishment, it's positioning. There are seasons when God moves loudly, and there are seasons when He moves quietly, and you are coming out of a quiet season that has been building pressure for a powerful release. That heaviness you've been feeling lately? That sense that something is about to change but you can't quite explain it? That's not anxiety, that's anticipation. Your spirit has already sensed what your mind hasn't fully understood yet. This is the moment before breakthrough. The breathe before the shift. The stillness right before everything begins to move. You've been seeing signs, numbers repeating like 1111 showing up when you least expect it, 222 reminding you to trust, 444 showing up when you feel alone, 777 appearing when you're on the edge of giving up. And those aren't coincidences. Those are confirmations. Little nudges from the universe, gentle reminders from God saying, I see you. I haven't forgotten you. Stay right here. You've outgrown places, people, and versions of yourself that once felt familiar, and that's why things have felt uncomfortable. Growth often feels like loss before it feels like freedom. And you've been in that in-between space, the place where the old no longer fits, but the new hasn't fully arrived yet. That space can feel lonely. It can make you question your faith. It can make you wonder if all the believing, all the waiting, all the choosing hope over fear was even worth it. But listen to this. God never wastes waiting seasons. Every delay has been doing something inside you, strengthening you, refining you, protecting you from what would have broken you before you were ready. You weren't being ignored. You were being prepared. And right now, at this exact point in time, something is shifting. You may not see it yet, but you can feel it, and that feeling is real. There is a breakthrough forming that will not come the way you expected, but it will arrive right on time. Before 2026 ends, something you thought was permanently closed will reopen. Something you stopped praying for will come back around, and something you released in tears will return with purpose. God is about to answer you in a way that brings peace instead of chaos, clarity instead of confusion, and assurance instead of fear. This isn't about rushing anymore. This is about alignment. And when things align, they move fast. One call, one message, one opportunity, one conversation, one encounter. And suddenly, what felt stuck for months begins to flow effortlessly. This is why your heart has been feeling tender lately. This is why old emotions have been surfacing. This is why you've been craving quiet, craving truth, craving something deeper than surface-level happiness. You are awakening, spiritually, emotionally, intuitively. You're learning to listen to your inner voice again, the one God placed inside you to guide you. And as you awaken, you're also shedding what no longer belongs to you: fear that wasn't yours to carry, guilt that wasn't yours to hold, expectations that were never meant to define you. Right now, heaven is realigning your steps. Even the setbacks you didn't understand were redirections. Even the doors that closed were acts of mercy. Even the people who walked away made space for what's coming next. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are exactly where you need to be for what God is about to do next. And if your heart is racing just a little as you hear this, that's because your spirit recognizes truth. Stay here. Don't rush past this moment. Because this is only the beginning, and what's about to unfold will make the waiting make sense. Listen closely now, because what I'm about to say is not random, and it's not meant for everyone, it's meant for you. If you're still here, it's because something inside you knows this message is continuing for a reason. This is where the shift becomes clearer. You've been standing at a crossroads without even realizing it, wondering why decisions have felt heavier lately, why your spirit has been restless, and why you can no longer tolerate things you once accepted. That's because God has been quietly pulling you out of survival mode and preparing you for victory mode. The season of barely making it is ending. The season of just getting by is closing. And the season of breakthrough, real, tangible, undeniable breakthrough, is beginning to unfold, layer by layer. You've been asking for signs, and they've been coming, but not always in the ways you expected. Sometimes the sign was the door that didn't open. Sometimes it was the relationship that faded. Sometimes it was the plan that fell apart. But hear this truth: God will often disrupt what's comfortable to protect what's destined. And right now, your destiny is demanding your full attention. This is why distractions have been falling away. This is why certain people no longer feel aligned. This is why your soul has been craving more meaning, more truth, more depth, more purpose. You weren't created to live small or silent or stuck. You were created to rise, to heal, to build, and to walk boldly into what God promised you, even when the path didn't make sense at first. There has been a war over your mind, and you've felt it. Thoughts telling you it's too late, that you missed your chance, that you should lower your expectations and stop hoping so much. But those thoughts are not your own. They are distractions meant to keep you from stepping into the fullness of what's coming. Because when you are close to a breakthrough, doubt gets louder. Fear tries harder. Confusion increases. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're right on the edge of something powerful. And God is saying to you right now, hold your ground. Not everything that looks like resistance is rejection. Some resistance is simply confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. The enemy only fights what matters. And you matter. Your future matters. Your calling matters. Your healing matters. Before this year ends, you are going to witness a turnaround that doesn't require you to beg, chase, or force anything. It will come through alignment, through timing, through divine orchestration. Things will start lining up in ways that feel almost effortless compared to what you've been through. You'll look back and realize that the reason it took so long is because God was building something stable, not something temporary. He was protecting you from shortcuts that would have cost you peace later. And when this breakthrough comes, and it will come, you won't have to explain it to everyone. You won't have to prove anything. The results will speak for themselves. This includes areas you've been praying about quietly: your finances, your purpose, your family, your future, and yes, even your heart. If you've been carrying emotional weight from past connections, unresolved endings, or unanswered questions about love, hear this gently: God is healing you deeper than you realize. He's removing patterns that kept you settling. He's teaching you discernment instead of attachment. And that's why you haven't connected deeply with just anyone lately. That's not loneliness, that's preparation. Because when the right connection comes, it won't feel confusing or draining. It will feel safe. It will feel mutual. It will feel divinely guided. You'll notice the signs, the synchronicities, the repeated numbers showing up again, almost as if the universe is nodding in agreement. You'll feel peace where there used to be anxiety, certainty where there used to be questions. And that's how you'll know it's aligned. This is also a season of spiritual awakening for you. You're becoming more aware of your intuition, more sensitive to energy, and more selective with your time. And that's not selfish, that's wisdom. God is sharpening your discernment because where you're going next requires clarity. You can't carry everyone with you into the next chapter, and that's okay. Some people were meant to walk with you for a season, not a lifetime. Releasing them doesn't mean you failed, it means you learned. And as you release, you make room. Room for blessings you couldn't hold before. Room for opportunities you weren't ready for yet. Room for a version of yourself that is stronger, calmer, and more confident in who God says you are. This is not the end of your story, it's the turning point. And even if you don't see the full picture yet, trust that the author does. Stay open. Stay grounded. Stay faithful. Because what's coming next will remind you why you didn't give up, why you kept believing, and why this season, right now, had to happen exactly the way it did. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear is touching the deepest place in your heart, the place you don't let many people see, the place where hope and fear quietly sit side by side. This part of the message is gentle, but it's powerful, and it's meant to heal you while it awakens you. If your chest feels tight or emotional right now, that's okay. Your spirit is responding. You've been through more than you admit, especially when it comes to love, connection, and trust. You gave your heart with pure intentions, believing in forever, believing in loyalty, believing in timing, and when things didn't work out the way you prayed they would, you didn't just lose people, you lost pieces of yourself. And instead of becoming bitter, you became quieter. You started protecting your heart, not because you stopped believing in love, but because you learned how deeply it can hurt when it's misplaced. God saw that. God honored that. And God has been healing you in ways you didn't even realize were happening. That's why you're not the same person you were a year ago. That's why what once excited you no longer satisfies you. That's why shallow connections feel exhausting now. You're not asking for perfection, you're asking for alignment. You're asking for peace. You're asking for something real. And here's the prophetic truth you need to hear. Your heart has not been forgotten in the season of waiting. In fact, it's been protected more than you know. God has been removing counterfeit connections, distractions, and emotionally unavailable people who would have delayed your destiny. What felt like rejection was often redirection. What felt like abandonment was sometimes divine removal. Because you were being prepared for a connection that won't require you to beg, chase, or shrink yourself to be loved. You're stepping into a season where love is not confusing, it's confirming. Where communication flows instead of wounds reopening. Where effort is mutual, and presence feels safe. If you've been wondering about your soulmate, your divine counterpart, the person meant to walk beside you instead of ahead of you or behind you, hear this clearly. Preparation happens before introduction. Both of you have been healing separately. Both of you have been learning lessons you couldn't skip. Both of you have been breaking cycles that would have destroyed what God is building next. And when the timing aligns, it won't feel rushed or forced. It will feel familiar, like recognition at a soul level. You won't have to question their intentions. You won't have to decode their actions. You won't have to pray for clarity every night. Your nervous system will relax. Your heart will soften. Your spirit will feel seen. That's how you'll know. This is why God asked you to wait. Not to punish you, but to protect you. And as this connection draws closer, you may notice signs increasing. Angel numbers appearing more frequently, dreams becoming more vivid, sudden memories resurfacing not to hurt you but to release you. That's your heart clearing space. That's emotional healing completing its final stages. You're not regressing, you're closing chapters. And it's okay if you feel emotional without knowing why. Healing doesn't always announce itself loudly. Sometimes it whispers. This is also the season where your spiritual sensitivity is increasing. You're more aware of energy now. You can feel when something is off. You can sense when someone's words don't match their intentions. That's discernment. That's wisdom. That's God sharpening your intuition, because where you're going next requires clarity of heart. You can't build a future on emotional confusion anymore. And you won't. The days of overgiving, overexplaining, and overextending yourself are ending. You're learning that love doesn't have to hurt to be real. Peace doesn't have to be boring to be meaningful. Stability doesn't mean settling, it means safety. And God is rewiring your understanding of love so that when it arrives again, it won't reopen old wounds, it will heal them. Before this year ends, there will be emotional revelations that change how you see your past. You'll understand why certain relationships didn't last, why certain connections never fully aligned, and why certain endings had to happen the way they did. Not to bring regret, but to bring clarity. You'll realize you weren't asking for too much, you were asking the wrong people. And that realization will free you. This awakening isn't just about romance, it's about self-worth. You're remembering who you are, what you deserve, and what you will no longer accept. And from this place of wholeness, love meets you differently. You're not waiting to be completed anymore, you're ready to be complemented. And that shift changes everything. If your heart has been guarded, let it rest for a moment. You don't have to force healing. It's already happening. You don't have to chase love. What's meant for you is moving toward you even now. Trust the process. Trust the timing. Trust the one who has been writing your story with intention, patience, and care. This part of your journey is sacred. And what's coming next will remind you that every tear, every prayer, and every season of waiting was shaping you for a love and a life that feels like home. Stay here, because this part is where everything begins to connect. Where the invisible starts becoming visible, and where what you've been feeling in your spirit starts to take shape in the real world. If you've felt lately like time is moving strangely, like days are speeding up but moments feel heavy, that's not random. You're entering a manifestation window. A season where thoughts, prayers, emotions, and intentions begin to crystallize into reality faster than before. This is why your mindset has mattered so much recently. This is why you've been pushed to release old narratives, forgive what hurt you, and stop replaying past disappointments. God has been aligning you internally before aligning your external world. Because manifestation without maturity becomes chaos, but manifestation with wisdom becomes blessing. And you are stepping into blessing. You may have noticed that things you speak now seem to carry more weight, more energy. When you say you're tired, exhaustion lingers. When you speak hope, peace follows. When you declare faith, doors begin to shift. That's because your words are aligning with your authority. You are no longer speaking from desperation, you are learning to speak from trust. And heaven responds differently to trust. This is also why signs have been intensifying. You might glance at the clock at exactly 11:11 when you're thinking about your future. You might see 222 when you're questioning a relationship or a decision. You might see 333 when you're asking for confirmation, or 444 when you feel overwhelmed and need reassurance. These are not superstitions. These are reminders. Gentle taps on the shoulder from the universe saying, "You're supported. You're guided. Keep going." And the more you slow down and notice them, the more you'll realize they appear at moments when your faith wavers or your heart needs reassurance. This is divine communication meeting you at your level of awareness. You're becoming more attuned to it because your spirit is awake now. You're no longer asleep to your own power, your own worth, or your own intuition. This awakening has been gradual, but it's undeniable. You feel it when you choose peace instead of reacting. You feel it when you walk away from situations that once drained you. You feel it when you say no without guilt. These are not small changes. They are signs of alignment. And alignment is what accelerates manifestation. This is also the season where God is teaching you patience without passivity. You're learning to trust while still preparing, to rest while still remaining open. You're no longer forcing outcomes. You're no longer chasing validation. You're allowing things to meet you where you are. And because of that, what's meant for you is finding you more easily. Before this year ends, expect confirmations that feel almost uncanny. Conversations that answer prayers you never spoke out loud. Opportunities that arrive through unexpected channels. Encounters that feel divinely timed. You may even feel moments of déjà vu, like you've been here before. Not because you're repeating a cycle, but because your soul remembers what your mind is just now catching up to. This is destiny recognition. This is alignment clicking into place. You are also being asked to release control in ways that challenge you. Not because you're weak, but because control was how you survived, not how you thrived. God is teaching you that surrender is not giving up, it's opening up. Opening up to possibilities you couldn't orchestrate on your own. Opening up to blessings that don't require you to exhaust yourself. Opening up to outcomes that exceed your expectations. And this can feel uncomfortable at first, because you're used to managing everything. But peace comes when you realize you don't have to carry it all anymore. This is where trust deepens. This is where faith becomes experiential, not theoretical. And as this alignment strengthens, you'll notice your emotional reactions changing. Things that once triggered you won't have the same hold. Situations that once scared you won't feel as threatening. You'll still feel emotions, but they won't control you. That's growth. That's healing integrated, not just understood. You're becoming grounded. And grounded people manifest from clarity, not chaos. This season is also teaching you to receive, to accept help, to allow goodness without questioning it. That might sound simple, but for you, it's been a lesson. You learn to earn love, earn rest, earn approval. Now God is showing you that grace is not earned, it's given. And when you finally allow yourself to receive without guilt, blessings flow more freely. This is why things are about to feel lighter. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer carrying what was never yours to hold. Before 2026 ends, you will look back at this period and realize it was a turning point. Not dramatic on the outside, but profound on the inside. A recalibration, a reset, a quiet miracle. You'll recognize that the universe wasn't delaying you, it was aligning you. And the manifestations that arrive will feel stable, sustainable, and peaceful, not overwhelming or chaotic. This is divine timing at work. Stay open, stay aware, stay grounded. Because you are closer than you think, and everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Stay with me until the very end. Because this final part is not just a message, it's a declaration, a sealing, and a moment of agreement between you and God. If you've made it this far, it's because your spirit was meant to hear this conclusion. Take a deep breath right now. Let it go slowly. Feel that quiet sense of calm beginning to replace the tension you've been carrying. This is the moment where the waiting turns into witnessing, where faith turns into evidence, and where hope becomes something you can finally hold in your hands. You have been in a long season of becoming, and now you are stepping into a season of being confident, being grounded, being aligned, being at peace. God is not just about to do something for you. He is about to do something through you. Everything you've endured, every tear you cried in private, every prayer you whispered when you felt unheard, has been shaping you for this next chapter. And this chapter is not about survival. It's about victory. Not loud, chaotic victory, but steady, undeniable, God-ordained victory. Before 2026 ends, you will experience answers that feel almost surreal, not because you doubted God's power, but because you forgot how deeply He cares about the details of your life. You'll see doors open that you stopped knocking on. You'll receive clarity in areas where confusion once lived. You'll feel strength rise in you where exhaustion once sat. And you won't have to chase any of it. What is meant for you will meet you with grace. This is a season of restoration of joy, restoration of confidence, restoration of trust, restoration of dreams you quietly buried because it hurt too much to keep hoping. God is breathing life back into those dreams, not to overwhelm you, but to remind you who you are. You are not defined by what didn't work out. You are not limited by past mistakes. You are not delayed beyond redemption. You are chosen, protected, and deeply loved. And as this victory unfolds, you'll notice something powerful. Your response to blessings will be gratitude, not fear. You won't question how long it will last. You won't wait for the other shoe to drop. You'll receive with open hands and an open heart, because you've learned that fear no longer has authority over you. This victory also carries responsibility, not pressure, but purpose. You will become a reminder to others that waiting is not wasted, that healing is possible, and that alignment changes everything. Your story will encourage someone else to keep believing when it's hard. Your peace will speak louder than your words. And God will use your life as evidence of His faithfulness. This is not about perfection, it's about presence. God has been with you in every moment, even when you couldn't feel Him. And now, as things begin to shift externally, you'll realize He never left. There will be moments of confirmation that bring tears to your eyes, not from pain, but from relief. Relief that you didn't give up. Relief that you trusted. Relief that you stayed. You'll look back and see how every closed door redirected you, how every delay refined you, how every ending protected you. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. Everything was intentional. And now we seal this with prayer. God, we thank you for the breakthrough you are releasing, for the victory you are unfolding, and for the peace you are restoring. We release fear, doubt, and impatience, and we receive faith, clarity, and divine alignment. Cover the one listening right now. Strengthen their heart. Guide their steps. Open the doors that no one can shut, and close the doors that would distract them from their destiny. Let them walk forward with confidence, knowing that what you have promised, you will fulfill. And for you listening, declare this over your life. This year will not end without my breakthrough. This year will not end without my victory. This year will not end without evidence of God's goodness. If this message resonated with you, whisper, Amen. Share this with someone who needs hope today. And remember, your story is still unfolding, and the best is not behind you. It's ahead. Stay right here, because this final continuation is softer, deeper, and more powerful than anything before it. This is where the noise fades, where the urgency settles, and where peace finally lands in your spirit. You don't need to rush past this moment. This is the moment your soul has been craving without knowing how to ask for it. If you're feeling a strange calm mixed with emotion right now, that's not coincidence. That's your heart recognizing safety. You've spent so long in fight mode, in wait mode, in prove yourself mode, that stillness used to feel uncomfortable. But now, stillness feels like home. This is the quiet miracle. Not the kind that arrives with fireworks and applause, but the kind that shows up as relief, as clarity, as a deep knowing that everything is going to be okay. You are stepping into a new beginning that doesn't demand you become someone else. It simply asks you to be who you already are, without fear. God is not rushing you anymore. The pressure you felt to figure it all out is lifting, because this next chapter is not built on striving, it's built on trust. You've learned what doesn't work. You've learned what drains you. You've learned what costs you peace. And that wisdom is priceless. It's the foundation of what comes next. From this place forward, your life begins to feel more intentional. You start choosing rest without guilt. You start choosing joy without apology. You start choosing alignment over approval. And slowly, almost gently, you realize you are no longer the person who was waiting for permission to live fully. You are living. You are present. You are awake. This is where the universe responds differently to you, because you are responding differently to yourself. Your energy has shifted. Your expectations have softened, but your faith has strengthened. You are no longer begging God to show up. You are walking with Him, step by step, trusting His pace. And in this partnership, miracles unfold naturally. You'll notice that blessings arrive without chaos now. Good news doesn't trigger fear. Happiness doesn't feel temporary. Love doesn't feel threatening. Peace doesn't feel boring. It feels earned, not because you worked harder, but because you healed deeper. This is the reward of inner alignment. This is the fruit of all those unseen battles you fought and won quietly. And as you move forward, you'll carry a new kind of confidence. Not loud, not defensive, not performative, but grounded. You know who you are now. You know what you bring. You know what you deserve. And that knowing changes how the world meets you. People sense it. Opportunities respond to it. Doors open to it. This is not arrogance, it's assurance. God's assurance. There will still be challenges ahead, but they won't shake you the way they once did. You'll face them with discernment instead of panic, with prayer instead of pressure, with trust instead of fear. And when you look back at the version of yourself who started this journey, the tired one, the confused one, the hurting one, you won't feel shame. You'll feel compassion, gratitude, respect. Because that version of you survived so this version could thrive. And now, as this message comes to a close, let this truth settle into your spirit. You are safe to hope again. You are allowed to dream again. You are permitted to believe again. God is not done with your story. In fact, He is just getting started. The ending you feared has transformed into a beginning you couldn't imagine. And from here on, your life becomes a testimony, not of perfection, but of grace. Not of ease, but of endurance. Not of luck, but of divine faithfulness. So rest tonight. Breathe deeply. Walk forward gently. You don't need to carry tomorrow's worries into today. What's meant for you is already in motion. What's destined for you is already aligned. And what God has promised, He will complete. Let this be the moment you release the old year with peace and step into what's next with trust. If your heart feels lighter right now, that's your confirmation. This message was for you. and you are exactly where you're meant to be. If this prayer spoke to your heart, type Amen in the comments and claim your breakthrough. Share this prayer with someone who needs victory before this year ends, and subscribe for daily prayers.